We want to welcome you to the Wednesday night Bible class for the Stonecrest Church of Christ. It is a plum picking pleasure that you present to us each Wednesday night to be able to come into your homes, your work spaces, with messages that are predicated upon the Word of God. And we want you to know how grateful we are for your invitation for us to come into your sacred spaces. Thank you so very, very much. Before we begin our message on tonight, we want to remind you again of the fifth Sunday area-wide fellowship singing is going to be hosted by the Stonecrest Church of Christ Sunday, August the 30th, beginning at 3 p.m., where churches from the Tri-County area and their singing groups will convene on our location, and we'll have an afternoon of singing and praise and fellowship. We've invited the newly installed minister to the Locust Grove Church, Carrie Thomas, to be our special guest on that afternoon. And so if you're in our area, then please feel free to stop by and join the tremendous singing groups and the praise leaders that will be leading us in praise and worship on Sunday, August the 30th, beginning at 3 p.m. Secondly and finally, we are having our annual Issachar Golf Scholarship Tournament Friday, September the 25th at the Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club. We encourage you to come out and play golf with us. We encourage you even to sponsor a team, ought to be one of our 3-level sponsors for the golf tournament. Proceeds go in part to our scholarship for high school students and college students, and in addition to our yearly Issachar conference that we convene each May. We were able to give close to, in fact, more than $4,000 worth of scholarship last year because of your generosity. Now, I know how these announcements are. You hear them. You're well intended. You mean well. You plan to do it, but you just keep putting it off. Let me encourage you, as soon as this program is over, to go to Stonecrest, IssacharConference.com, hit the donation. I will continue in summer series, Living in the Cemetery of Regret. We started out talking about the brothers of Joseph, and then we went to Joseph and his travels in order to fulfill the destiny that God had purposed and designed for his life. We talked to you the last couple of weeks from this notion that God uses detours to develop what the destination requires. I've shown you time and time again from Genesis 37, the earlier verses of Genesis chapter 37, that God has given Joseph a dream. But in the dream, God showed him the destination. And at the destination, his brothers were going to bow to him. His father was even going to bow to him. Well, that's the destination. What God did not show him was the route to his destination. And along that route, God had some detours. I suggested to you last week that very rarely do our lives follow one straight continuum. Most of our journeys to our destinies have a tendency to zigzag. They don't go in a straight line. I'm fortunate, and I shared this with you last week, that that my life has been one straight vertical continuum. When I was 8 years old, I knew that one day I wanted to be a preacher. Now, don't ask me how I knew that. I just knew there was a stirring in my heart at 8 years old what God had destined and purpose for my life to be. Well, God called me to preach at age 16. I went off to college at age 18. And so all my life, I've done one thing, and that is I have been a full-time preacher of the gospel since age 23. All my life. Now, I had some little sidekick jobs, in high school, my first several years of college, because Shirley and I got married in college. While I was pursuing an undergraduate degree, I worked, started off part-time and then ended up full-time in the summer working at Borden's Milk Company. But I'm still pursuing that continuum of undergraduate studies in Bible and in religion, and then graduate studies in theology and in biblical related studies. One straight continuum. I shared with you last week that my wife went to college to be a classroom teacher. She became a classroom teacher, and then God zigzagged her because he wanted her to be a counselor. Well, she didn't have the certification to be a counselor, and so God placed it in the heart of her principal, Dr. Albert Lemons, a really good man, and he held different careers in order to get you at the destiny, the purpose, and the will for your life. Now, many of us, most of us, have these devices either in our cars, on our person, where these phones have software apps called GPS. GPS is a term that stands for Global Positioning System. These phones and these watches and these computers are tied in to a signal that is tied in to a satellite that is all over the earth. And all you need to do is punch in an address, a destination, and the GPS will start either by voice on your watch or your phone or your tablets or your computers. If you're like me, you got OnStar in your car or some other GPS device, and all you do is plug in your destination, and it will draw up a map and give you turn by turn directions and instructions. And all you have to do, you can be in a strange city, it does not matter. If the destination is plugged in, you can know absolutely the destination is plugged in. You can know absolutely nothing about the city or about the country. And that device will get you to that destination. But there are occasions when, even though you have plugged in your destination, it has already given you a route to that destination. You miss a turn. The software of the app tells you that along this route, there's an accident 5 miles ahead, or there's a spillage on the road, or there's a policeman a mile ahead. You may want to take your foot off the gas. Well, this app gives you that kind of information. Sometimes the app will reroute you. Lean in, hear me carefully. The app never changes your destination. It only changes or gives you another route to your destination. Sometimes the route is faster. Sometimes it's not as fast. Sometimes it'll take you on an interstate highway. Other times it'll put you on an access road. Sometimes it'll put you on a dirt road. But it never changes your destination. It only changes your route to that destination. You see, friends, God can reroute your journey without revoking your destiny. Say that again, Brother Pete. God can reroute your journey without revoking your destiny. That's what is occurring with Joseph. God, in two dreams, Genesis 37, 1 through 7, in two dreams, God has shown Joseph ahead of time his destiny. God is going to position him in a palace in Egypt one day that will cause his envious, jealous, hating brothers to come and to bow before him. And even his father will bow before him. Well, now, friends, that's exactly what God showed him in the dream. But now, that's the dream. That's the destination. What God did not show Joseph, and what God oftentimes does not show us, is the journey, is the route, is the way, is the approach. God says, this is my purpose for you. This is my destination for you. I never thought when I moved to the city of Atlanta to preach for the Hillcrest Church of Christ, 2005, that I would end up founding 10 years after preaching there, the Stonecrest Church of Christ. What did God do? He rerouted me. I was upset about it. But God said, you can get all the attitudes you want to. There is something that I need to teach you in this rerouting to the establishment of the Stonecrest Church of Christ, whereby this congregation can be a blessing in a county that it did not begin in. Well, what I'm saying to you in this series is that God uses detours to develop what the destination requires. Let me try that again. God uses detours to develop what you are going to need when you get to the destination. The destination, my ultimate will for you, my ultimate purpose for you, is going to require a skill set, an experience, an education, a training that you don't have right now. So rather than me opening this door for you, I know that what I have for you, you are not ready for. Friend, why don't we teach our babies geometry? Why don't we teach them algebra? Why don't we teach them quantum physics? Well, you would say to me, well, Dr. Barclay, did you say a baby? I said a baby, a child. Well, the reason we don't teach them that is because they have no foundation to be able to handle the rigors of those subject matters. But the same thing is true with a lot of us. The reason God has had to close some doors, because had he opened that door for you at the time you wanted it, you wouldn't have had the skill set to be able to handle what the destination required. Oftentimes when you go to apply for a job, the HR director, what you have to fill out in order to try to qualify for the job. One of the things that they ask you is, do you have any experience in this particular area? What the job is trying to say to you is, listen, we need somebody who already has a skill set. We don't want to hire you and then send you off to school to get this skill set. We want you to already have the skill set. And if you have the skill set, then you become employable. You become hireable. And so businesses do this every day. Well, God does the same thing. He does it with church leadership. He does it with church ministry. It's not that you're not useful. It's not that you can't learn it. It's just we need somebody right now with skill set to be able to develop, to organize and to develop our seniors ministry, our youth ministry, and we got good people in those positions. But we develop them along the way with the skill set to be able to do what the ministry requires of them. God does the same thing. God does the same thing. God has purpose. God has will. God has destined certain things for your life. But if God gave it to you right now, it would overwhelm you. It would frustrate you. So what does God do? God reroutes you. God doesn't change his mind. God doesn't change his purpose, his will, his destination. God said, I need to let you get some more training over here. I need to let you get this skill set over here. So once you get this skill set, now I can match that skill set with what I've destined and purpose for you to have and for you to be. Every believer, oh, look at the screen. Every believer who has walked with God long enough has asked the same question in different clothing. Well, what's that question, Dr. Barclay? Here it is. God, why is this taking so long? And why does it hurt so much? Every believer has asked that. We've all become impatient. Just like Joseph, God showed him the palace, but then God let him experience the opposite of the palace, and that's the pit. Well, why did God let him go to the pit? Because his destination, once he got to the palace, required, lean in, what only the pit could teach him. Oh, no, you didn't. Yes, it did. See, the destination, I'm going to show you in a minute, all of the things that the destination required. But watch this. He couldn't learn them at the destination. He had to learn them in the detours and in the route that God planned for him before he ever got to the palace. Now, if anybody could have asked that question, Joseph could have asked that question. God gave him a dream when he was 17 years old. The dream never came to fruition and to reality until he was 30 years old. And nowhere in the dream did God show him the pit. Nowhere in the dream did God show him Potiphar's house and how Potiphar's wife would attempt rape on him. Nowhere in the dream did God show him that his own brothers and family would turn against him. It never showed up in the dream, but it was what the destination required. Now I want you to watch this. I'm sure Joseph asked, God, why is this taking so long? Come on, you showed me the dream. I want to see folk bow. I want to see that palace. God says, I need you to see inside of a pit with no light, no food, no water, and you have no idea what's in that pit with you. But the pit is going to teach you something that when you get to the palace, you would have already learned. See, if you skim Joseph's life by its headlines, see, the headlines of his life is pit, slavery, prison, palace. If you skim Joseph's life by its headlines, it looks like one long detour, one long wasted time, 13 years of delay, and a plan gone off course. But if you look closer and the lesson becomes clear, the detour was not delaying the destination, it was developing Joseph for it. Oh my goodness. Let me hit pause, hit rewind, hit play again. If you look closer, I said, the lesson becomes clear. The detour was not delaying the destination, it was developing Joseph for it. God was not simply making him wait despite the pit, the prison. He was shaping him through those life experiences. May I suggest to you, as the graphic suggests to you, what looks and feels like off course may be exactly where God is preparing you for what comes next. Oh my goodness, let me try that again. What looks like and feels like off course. And how many times you're pretty much familiar with a route. I come to work every day in one or three directions. I've timed each one. And as I'm on 155 trying to get here, there are times when the traffic backs up. Well, since I'm on 155, then I can get to a certain place on 155 and take a right and avoid all of the traffic that's in front of me. Well, see, God does the same thing. Sometimes it feels like we're off course. We We're sitting in traffic. We're all jammed up. We're frustrated. And in those moments, God is saying, you know what? You really do need to learn some patience. God, today, God said, you need to learn some patience. Because sometimes life looks and feels like it's off course. But that off courseness may be God preparing you for what comes next. Because, friends, I believe you would agree with me when I say to you that sometimes life does not go. Yeah, you finished the statement for me. Life does not go the way we planned. We thought we would be farther along down the road in our career toward our life's goals, objectives, purpose, and destiny. We expected a door to open, but it closed. We prayed for relief, but trouble remained. Because sometimes what looks and feels off course may be exactly where God is preparing you for what comes next. Sometimes we feel like my life has taken a wrong turn. But God may be using that difficult place to teach us lessons, strengthen our character, and prepare us for an assignment we are not ready to handle yet. May I suggest to you, as the graphic suggests there, you may feel lost. Oh, I love this. But God has not lost your location. Barclay, what did you just say? I said, you may feel lost. But your feeling is just an emotion. Even though you may feel lost, God has not lost your location. See, that's the beauty of these things here. Even though this route sure doesn't look like it's going to get me where I need to go. Well, see, first of all, on this route, you have no idea where you're going. But watch this. The GPS knows where you are. Oh, you missed your shout right through that. See, you may not know where you are, but the satellite knows where you are. Because the satellite is sending signals throughout the earth. See, you're here in Georgia, but the satellite is now flying over New Jersey, and you trying to get to New York. see, the satellite knows where you are. God has not lost your signal. You may feel lost, but God has not lost your location. And please understand something. A detour is not always a dead end. Now, what's true is this. Sometimes, and it has happened to me, that the GPS has carried me to an address that no longer exists. And I'm saying, this is not where Kroger's is. That doesn't say Kroger's. Why'd you bring me here? Well, see, the problem was Kroger's was in the parking lot. Kroger's was in the vicinity. And sometimes you go into these businesses where on the outside there's one address, but you're trying to find address that's inside of that address, well, you're still in the neighborhood. You're still in the vicinity. What I'm saying is God, remember I said the GPS is the global positioning system. And sometimes in real time, it does not always update itself. But when I talk about a global positioning system, that ain't what I'm talking about when it comes to God. I'm talking about a God positioning system. And what I mean is simply this: God is, oh, there you go, with that Bible again. God is everywhere at the same time. So God ain't trying to find the address. God's already there. and that's the good thing about God. The places you and I are trying to go, he's already there. Because he's omnipresent. That means he's present everywhere at the same time. And God ain't looking at no map. God has already mapped it out. And so that's why faith requires that we trust God. Because sometimes God takes us through a place we did not choose, because he is developing something we will need later. So Joseph then is going to go through all of these detours on the way to his destiny. As you see on the screen, God gave Joseph dreams that reveal he would one day lead. That's the dream that God gave him. But Joseph's path did not move straight from the dream to the palace. Joseph's journey included several painful stages, from the pit to slavery, to the false accusation, to prison, to being in prison 2 years and been forgotten, and then later to the palace. That's his journey. But lean in, none of that showed up in the dream. Now surely Joseph wondered, or surely Joseph may have wondered, the pit, Potiphar's house, temptation, prison, being forgotten, the palace. I want you to watch this, friends. As you look at the graphic on the screen, you see Joseph's detour. But then to the right of that column, you see what God was developing. Oh, let me camp for a little bit here. In the pit, what was God trying to teach him? Here it is, humility. Well, Dr. Barclay, why would you say that? Because God had just given him a dream. And in the dream, his sheaves stood elevated and above the sheaves of his brothers. He showed him in the second dream, sun, moon, and stars bowing down to him. Joseph was already a tattletale. His brothers had already gotten angry at him because he had told his father about their deviant behavior out in the field. And so I'm sure that when Joseph saw that, he, like a lot of us, became pompous, became puffed up, became arrogant. Wow. One day y'all gonna bow. You keep telling that. Daddy, one day you gonna bow. Okay. Watch this. God showed it. But there are times when we have to learn how to tell our dreams. Joseph had not learned that yet. It didn't nullify the dream, but even when God gives you a dream, you have to know how to tell that dream so that others are not insulted by your arrogance. So what does God do? God said, I need to teach this boy some humility. I've shown him where he's going. I've shown him where he's going to end up. But I need to let him go into the pit to teach him some humility. And then from the pit, he goes down to Potiphar's house. Well, what does he do in Potiphar's house? He manages the house. Well, why does he manage the house? Because when he gets to the palace and when he gets to his destination, he understands responsibility. If you can't manage the house, how you going to manage the government? If you can't get your house in order, how you going to get the church in order? And so in Potiphar's house, God is teaching him responsibility, and he manages the household and the welfare and the interests of Pharaoh. So God is teaching him responsibility, because you got to be responsible when you become vice president, governor, or second in command in all of Egypt under Pharaoh. You have to be responsible. But then look at what else happened to him. Temptation. Well, while managing and being responsible for Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife decides that he's handsome, he's well built, he's articulate. She said, I want me some of that. I got to have that. And so she tries to tip him. She tries to rape him. Well, what is God teaching him? God's teaching him integrity. Joseph said to Pharaoh's wife, Miss Pharaoh, Pharaoh has placed me over everything in his house. Your husband trusts me. I have to be a man of integrity. Girlfriend, you don't know where I just came from. I just came from the pits. I just came from chains around my neck and fetters around my feet. I love my freedom. But now you're trying to take my freedom away. You don't belong to me. You belong to my master. I have to be integral. I need integrity. Because when I get to the palace, I cannot be irresponsible. I cannot be shiftless. I cannot be not counted on. When I give my word matters. But you are threatening that. So you can lie on me, you can do whatever you think you need to do, but I'm not going to sleep with you because you don't belong to me. And so he's falsely accused. Well, what does God do with that false accusation? God lets him go to prison for something he did not do. So God is teaching him patience. And God is teaching him endurance. Even when people scandalize your name, even when people call you everything but a child of God, and you want to slap the taste out of their mouth, God said, don't do it. Don't do it. Because what you don't know is that this is part of the detour that I planned for you. And then in prison, he goes to prison. But what does he learn? Leadership. I mean, he gets, all of the thugs, all of the prisoners, from the prisoners, the inmates, to the guards, highly esteem the organization and the leadership of Joseph. Why does God need that developed? Because God is going to send a famine. And God knows he has to have someone with organizational, administrative expertise, with integrity, and the leadership to organize and prepare the nation for 7 years of poverty. So God says, I need to put you in prison for about 2 years. No, you didn't do it. You've been falsely accused. But you're going to learn something when you go to prison. And then when he goes to prison and he helps a butcher and a baker out, helps the baker get out of the prison, baker gets out of the prison and forgets Joseph is still in prison until God navigates the situation and the circumstances in Pharaoh's sleep, and the baker remembers, Pharaoh, that was a guy with me in prison who interpreted my dream. And my dream was one of restoration. You restored me back to my position. Maybe this guy can help you. And then the palace itself. And when Joseph gets to the palace, he comes with this skill development of humility, responsibility, integrity, endurance, leadership, patience, and then living his life based upon purpose and not privilege. You see, Joseph's problems were not stopping his preparation. I said Joseph's problems were not stopping his preparations. They were not stopping it. They were part of his preparation. Because when you go back, the passages like Genesis 39:21, even before and even afterwards, anytime Joseph got in a situation, when he was in the pit, when he was in Potiphar's house, when he was being tempted, when he was being falsely accused, the prison, being forgotten, you have this accompanying statement. The Lord was with Joseph. In all of those situations, the pit, Potiphar's house, temptation, false accusation, prison, being forgotten, the palace, each time he found himself in a difficult situation, you have this accompanying statement. And the Lord was with Joseph. Now, the Bible does not always say that Joseph was comfortable. It says that God was always with him. Let me say this, and I'll bid you farewell tonight. God's presence does not mean there will be no prison. God's presence does not mean there will be no pit. God's presence does not mean there will be no accusation, there will be no temptations. God's presence means that the pit, Potiphar's house, temptation, false accusation, being forgotten, it means that those difficult places and situations come here, and I'll say good night to you, does not cancel the promise. Oh, what did you say? I said the pit, Potiphar's, temptation, false accusation, the prison being forgotten, does not mean there won't be difficult days. It means that those difficult days do not cancel the promise of God. And until next Wednesday night, may the Lord of the harvest bless you, and may he bless you real good.
Me, hey.